Have you ever watched a cartoon as a kid that actually haunted you for years? The 1970s gave us some of the creepiest animated moments ever that left kids traumatized for years. In this video, we're counting down the top 5 most disturbing 70s cartoon episodes, and wait until you see which one had kids crying worldwide. Let's start with Scooby Doo's most chilling case, vampire bats and scaredy cats. This Scooby Doo episode was much scarier than usual. The gang goes to a creepy island called Great Skull Island during a meeting for people who work with dead bodies. They help their friend Lisa, who thinks her dead grandfather has come back as a vampire to hurt her. The scary part happens when Lisa gets a strange phone call. She suddenly turns into a vampire while trapped in a room with Shaggy and Scooby. The vampire keeps jumping out of coffins and closets, chasing Lisa around the island. Even though it turns out to be fake like always, this episode felt like a real horror movie. The whole place is covered with coffins and graves. The mood is dark and spooky, not funny like normal Scooby episodes. Kids watching at home got really scared because it looked like Lisa might actually be cursed. The vampire looked real and mean, not silly like other Scooby villains. Many fans say this episode had the best scary scenes in all of Scooby Doo from the 1970s. It made kids afraid because seeing a friend turn into a monster was terrifying.
I'll answer it. Hello?
The island setting with all the death symbols made it feel like a nightmare. Parents even complained that it was too scary for children. Even today, people remember how this episode made them hide behind pillows. It proved that Scooby Doo could be truly frightening when it wanted to be. But Star Trek took it further, mixing space exploration with the devil himself in the Magicks of Megas 2. Now, this Star Trek cartoon episode was one of the strangest things ever shown to kids on Saturday morning TV. The Enterprise spaceship gets pulled into another world where magic is real instead of science. The crew meets aliens who can do magic tricks and cast spells. The most shocking part is when they meet a character called Lucien, who is actually the devil from Human Stories. Captain Kirk and his crew have to work with Satan himself. The episode shows a magic trial like the old witch trials in Salem, where people were killed for doing magic. Kirk has to defend the devil in court and even fights using magic powers to save him.
To isolate someone like Lucien, that's the same as sentencing him to death.
Do you realize who you defend?
Parents watching with their kids couldn't believe a children's show was talking about the devil and witchcraft so openly. Most cartoons never mentioned religion or evil spirits. The episode made many adults angry because they thought it was wrong to show Satan as someone who could be helped or saved. Kids were confused because they were taught the devil was completely bad, but here he seemed just like another alien character. Critics said the show somehow made it work as a story, but it was too weird and scary for many families. The episode asked hard questions about good and evil that most kids weren't ready to think about. It showed magic as real and powerful, which worried religious parents. Even today, people say this episode could never be made for kids' TV. It pushed too many boundaries and made both children and adults uncomfortable with its strange mix of science fiction and religious ideas. If seeing Captain Kirk defend Lucifer felt unsettling, Spider-Man made it worse by dragging kids into a dizzying nightmare world in Revolt in the Fifth Dimension. This Spider-Man episode terrified children because it was like a bad dream come to life. Instead of fighting normal bad guys in New York City, Spider-Man gets sucked into a weird alien world called Dementia 5. Everything there is crazy and makes no sense. The place is ruled by a scary skeleton creature with one giant eye called Infinata. This monster has a brain-like head and floats around making creepy noises. Spider-Man can't swing on buildings because there aren't any normal buildings, just strange, colorful shapes that keep changing. The whole episode looks like someone's nightmare. Weird floating monsters with no clear shape chase Spider-Man through a world that keeps shifting and changing colors. The backgrounds look like kaleidoscope patterns that hurt your eyes to watch. Nothing looks like the real world. Many kids had to turn off the TV or leave the room because it was too scary and confusing.
Yes, oh master!
And our secrets remain our own.
The villain Infinata made children shake with fear because it looked like something from their worst nightmares. Its voice was deep and echoing, like it came from inside your head. Spider-Man almost gives up hope in this crazy world, which scared kids who expected him to always win. The episode felt like being trapped in someone else's bad dream with no way to wake up. The bright, swirling colors and strange music made it feel like madness. Parents complained that it was too frightening and weird for children. Even today, adults remember hiding from this episode as kids. It became famous for being the creepiest Spider-Man cartoon ever made, with imagery that stuck in people's minds for years. That trippy, dreamlike fear hit hard, but imagine the shock when children thought their favorite superheroes were really dead in Super Friends: Rest in Peace. This Super Friends episode shocked kids by showing their favorite heroes apparently dying one by one. The Legion of Doom villains find a deadly crystal called Noxium that can kill any superhero by using their weakness against them. They decide to destroy all the good guys once and for all. The episode starts with Batman's funeral, showing all the heroes crying over Bruce Wayne's coffin.
So long, old pal. We'll never forget you.
For kids used to seeing superheroes always win and stay safe, this was terrifying and sad. Robin and Wonder Woman are shown grieving, which made children watching feel scared and upset. As the story goes on, it looks like the villains are winning for the first time ever. Superman and the other heroes seem to be getting killed off one at a time. The bad guys celebrate, while the good guys appear to be losing the fight completely. Kids watching didn't know what to think. The episode shows graves and funerals, which most children's cartoons never talked about. Death was usually not mentioned in superhero shows, so seeing heroes actually dying was shocking. Many kids started crying because they thought their favorite characters were really gone. Later in the episode, it turns out the heroes faked their deaths using robot copies to trick the villains. But young viewers didn't know this twist was coming, so they spent most of the episode believing their heroes were actually dead. The fear and sadness felt real. This episode is remembered for making kids face the idea that even the strongest heroes could die. It was much darker and sadder than normal Super Friends episodes, dealing with serious topics like death and loss that usually weren't in children's cartoons. Watching heroes mourn was tough, but nothing compared to the raw heartbreak Candy delivered when Anthony's tragic death shattered young viewers in My Anthony. This episode from the Japanese cartoon Candy broke children's hearts around the world. The show was usually about a cheerful orphan girl having adventures, but this episode killed off one of the main characters in a shocking way that no one expected. Candy's best friend and first boyfriend, Anthony Brown, dies in a terrible accident. They were having fun on a fox hunting trip when Anthony's horse steps on a hidden wire. The horse falls and throws Anthony off, hitting his head so hard that he never wakes up again. Candy watches the whole thing happen and can't do anything to help. She screams and cries as Anthony lies on the ground, but he's already gone. For a children's cartoon to show the death of a main character was almost unheard of at that time. Most kids' shows kept everyone safe. The next episode shows Candy getting very sick from grief and sadness. She has a fever and can barely get out of bed because she's so upset about losing Anthony. The family holds a funeral, and Candy cries through the whole thing while everyone tries to comfort her. Children watching around the world started crying along with Candy. Many kids had never seen death in a cartoon before, especially not someone young and important to the main character. It made them think about losing people they loved, which was scary and sad. This episode became famous for making both boys and girls cry in front of their TVs. Parents were surprised that a cartoon could make their children so emotional. Even today, people remember how much this episode hurt their feelings when they were young. Did one of these episodes haunt you the most, or did we miss the one that scarred your childhood forever? Drop your thoughts below.